The Citizen Report is a production of New Shannon Media. All content protected under copyright.
And welcome to the Citizen Report. I'm Jonathan Shannon, and thank you for joining me tonight. As always, this newscast is real, in-depth, American. Thank you so much for joining me. My co-host, David Heller, is off. Just for the record, I am joining you remotely tonight in audio only from Lake Wylie, South Carolina. Now, President Donald Trump, in a video message, addressed the American people tonight. Now, I don't know when the message itself was recorded, but it was released tonight. And I just want to caution everyone, before you listen to this, I just want you to keep in mind that he does not, I repeat, does not use the word concede. And as you will see later in this report, there is a striking similarity between what he said and what other members of his administration have said, whether it be today or sometime in the not-so-distant past. So, for now, let's go ahead and play the clip from President Donald Trump. This is the President of the United States addressing the American people.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election, and emotions are high. But now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. In so doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters, and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections. Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
And that, again, was the President of the United States addressing the American people regarding the current election developments. Now, again, I stress, this was not, he did not use the word concede outright. I know that he uses language that makes it sound somewhat unnerving, to be quite blunt about it. But I want to caution everyone that he does not use the word concede. And I also want to caution everyone to take notice of what he said and go back and listen to that final few seconds again, that last sentence or so, where he basically says, our journey has just begun. Now, I believe, he's being vague on purpose, and I think you will begin to understand why as I go to these other clips. For now, this next clip you're going to see is the White House press secretary from earlier today, Kayleigh McEnany. She had this to say regarding yesterday's unrest in Washington, D.C.
I am here to deliver this message on behalf of the entire White House. Let me be clear. The violence we saw yesterday at our nation's capital was appalling, reprehensible, and antithetical to the American way. We condemn it, the President and this administration, in the strongest possible terms. It is unacceptable, and those that broke the law should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I stood here at this podium the day after a historic church burned amid violent riots, and I said this: the First Amendment guarantees the right of the people to peaceably assemble. What we saw last night in Washington and across the country was not that, end quote. Make no mistake, what we saw yesterday afternoon in the halls of our Capitol likewise was not that. We grieve for the loss of life and those injured, and we hold them in our prayers and close to our hearts at this time. We thank our valiant law enforcement officers who are true American heroes. What we saw yesterday was a group of violent rioters undermining the legitimate First Amendment rights of the many thousands who came to peacefully have their voices heard in our nation's capital. Those who violently besieged our capital are the opposite of everything this administration stands for. The core value of our administration is the idea that all citizens have the right to live in safety, peace, and freedom. Those who are working in this building are working to ensure an orderly transition of power. Now it is time for America to unite, to come together, to reject the violence that we have seen. We are one American people under God. Thank you very much.
And that, again, was White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany. So, again, as you just saw, and compare and contrast that with what President Trump said, again, they are being purposely vague. They are talking about a transition of power, but they don't say Biden, which is very, very interesting. Now, you're about to see another clip from the Secretary of State, U.S. Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. He had this to say. Now, this was not today. This was not in recent days. This was sometime since the election itself. And I want you to pay very close attention, because he makes it pretty clear to us, and then once you listen to what he said then and compare that with what Trump said now and what Kayleigh McEnany said today, I think you're going to begin to understand that there's a lot more behind what they're saying. They're being purposely vague. I think it's to diffuse the current situation, and we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But for now, let's go to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo with what he said sometime since Election Day.
Hi.
Is the State Department currently preparing to engage with the Biden transition team? And if not, at what point does a delay hamper a smooth transition or pose a risk to national security?
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. Right? We're ready. The world is watching what's taking place here. We're going to count all the votes. When the process is complete, there'll be electors selected. There's a process. The Constitution lays it out pretty clearly. The world should have every confidence that the transition necessary to make sure that the State Department is functional today, successful today, and successful with the president who's in office on January 20th, a minute afternoon, will also be successful. I went through a transition on the front, and I've been on the other side of this. I'm very confident that we will do all the things that are necessary to make sure that the government, the United States government, will continue to perform its national security function as we go forward.
That, again, was the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, making that remark sometime since Election Day. And again, as of right now, I do not recall exactly which day it was. It was sometime in the last couple of months. So I just want to bring to everyone's, I want to bring to everyone's attention what Q has said regarding Red 1, Red 2, Red 3, Red 4, Red 5, Red 6, And I want everyone to pay close attention to what was said regarding that, because I think that is very relevant to what we're currently facing here. So you will see that here in just 1 second, and we will talk about that here right now, as a matter of fact. All right, and welcome back to the Citizen Report. I had to pause the recording for just a second so I could pull this up and resume recording. So, and once again, I am joining you remotely, so I do apologize for the rather amateur style of this newscast, but hopefully the information obviously is still good. So, here is a Q post number 4414 from June 4th, 2020. And it says EAM loyalists. Now, it lists us off some red categories. I just want everyone to pay close attention to this and compare and think in your mind the recent events in the last couple of days especially. So here we go. Red 1, POTUS, that's President of the United States, Twitter removal. Red 2, Central Communications blackout, and it has brackets in bold, Continental U.S. Red 3, class, I believe that means classified, movement, Pelosi or Pence. Red 4, movement of military assets, and it has brackets in bold, 10th Mountain, 1st Marine, CPSD Marine, QVIR, to central locations under guise of citizen riot control. Red 5, national, I believe it means NAT, I believe that means national, military, I believe that means communication, and then CEN, I believe that means center. So if we put this together, National Military Communication Center. Red 6, Secretary of Defense _ Instruct 1. USSS, and I'm going to click on it, and it doesn't seem... Okay, so I don't know what USSS, I don't know for certain what that means. Could it mean U.S. Secret Service? I just don't know. And then it says Castle _Rock, and then it, of course, signs off Q. So this is a very interesting post. If we think about what has just happened here, we had Red 1, POTUS, Twitter removal. Now, of course, as of right now, Trump is still on Twitter, although he was suspended for a number of hours. I do believe that he will ultimately be removed from Twitter, and Twitter has actually officially basically made it publicly known that they basically intend, if they deem that he violates their rules in the future, and what that really means is if he actually tells the truth again, they will go ahead and permanently remove his account. And I believe that's the @RealDonaldTrump account specifically. So, in just a second, I'm going to cut back to the other slide here. Well, actually, no. Let's do this before I do that. Let's go to this because I wanted to cover this as well. This is from the WhiteHouse.gov website, and I want you to pay close attention to the date on this. It says January 5, 2021. It says memorandum on inadmissibility of persons affiliated with Antifa based on organized criminal activity. It says, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. And if you read through this, and I haven't even skimmed through all of it, as a matter of fact, but what it suggests is very strongly to me personally. That is basically 1 day before this whole unrest thing broke out in Washington, D.C., we had a memorandum from Trump basically communicating to the Secretary of State, if I'm not mistaken, it was communicating to the Secretary of State certain things regarding Antifa. Section 2, I want to read to you here, at least the first part. Inadmissibility of Antifa associates based on terrorist and unlawful activity. Section A. The Secretary of State shall, in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security, review information received from the Department of Justice and other authorities to assess whether to classify Antifa as a terrorist organization under Section 1182A 3B, I believe VI, that's 6, of Title 8 United States Code. Section B. The Secretary of State shall take all appropriate steps in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security to consider listing Antifa as in 9 FAM 302.5-4B2U aliens who are members of an identified criminal organization. Now, I'm going to go back to this other slide, but I'm going to talk about this just a little bit. So stand by for 1 second. All right, and I'm back. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of this. Trump did put out on social media warning Antifa, I believe 1 day prior, to stay out of Washington. Now, did they stay out of Washington? Of course not. They're the ones that broke into the Capitol building. So I do believe Trump was aware. And of course, Trump is the president of the United States. He has all the intel that a president could possibly have. I guarantee you that he was well aware of whatever the intelligence knew about Antifa. So, or at least enough to be aware of it. So, I'm going to keep this broadcast short, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. But I just want to encourage everyone to don't lose hope. I know it seems bad right now, but I want to remind everyone of to trust God. And I also want to say, I do believe Trump uses principles from The Art of War. In particular, it basically says, and I'm paraphrasing here at least, that appear weak when you are strong when you are weak. So, or I should say, appear weak when you are strong. I'll just leave it at that. I forget exactly what the words are. But suffice it to say, I do believe that Trump and the Patriots, the military, they're on board. They know what's going on. We still have that election intel report that is supposed to come out per the executive order. Trump has not, as of this recording, and as far as I know, he has still not implemented the executive order from 2018 regarding dealing with election interference. So I do believe that optics are very important, and we will have to wait and see what happens. I just want to thank everyone for tuning into the Citizen Report, and God bless each and every one of you. And just don't believe the mainstream media. They are there to put out propaganda. I am utterly convinced of that now. I'm not saying every person in the mainstream media is completely I'm not saying every member of mainstream media, they knowingly perpetrate propaganda, but there are players who control things who are knowingly putting out propaganda against this republic. So, and in due course, it will be dealt with. So I just want to remind everyone, and of course we had, and just before I sign off, I just want to briefly address the Pence situation. So of course we had Lin Wood basically say that Pence had committed treason. This was before January 6th. Everyone thought Lin Wood had gone Looney Tunes. He had gone nuts. And I find it very interesting. Pence indeed declined to use his authority as president of the Senate to actually stop the fraudulent ballots for Biden in these contested states, or at least contested ballots, I should say, at minimum. So, and also one final thing. Very interestingly, when Pence was done, late in the overnight, he gets up and he apparently receives a silver coin. And I just think it's very, very symbolic. And it's definitely like the Judas getting paid 30 pieces of silver to have Jesus arrested and killed, crucified. And, of course, makes one wonder. Of course, I'm not here concluding that that's what Pence did here to Trump, but it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if Pence is a turncoat. We don't know. We just don't know for sure. But in due course, I do believe we'll learn a lot more. And you can be sure that here on the Citizen Report, we'll keep you updated. So thank you for watching the Citizen Report. God bless each and every one of you. Trust God. Just understand God is in control. I do not believe God is done with America. Those that are saying that God's done with America, you need to be very careful about those kind of voices because they can discourage you, and I don't think there's truth behind it. So remember, the deep state's had its grip on America for decades, actually centuries, depending on what you're talking about. And I do believe Trump is liberating the American people, or I should say God, through Trump, is liberating the American people from the oppression of the deep state. So God bless each and every one of you once again, and I'll see you right back here again next time. Have a good night, everyone.